What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you about Rivian. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming out associated to the company, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And with that, let's get right to it. So hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. When it comes to Rivian, on Friday it did go up 3.27%. A fair amount of volume for it being a Friday, so 48.37 million shares being traded. 54 is the average. Big money has been looking at Rivian, despite it not really bouncing back to the 15s and plus based on what the technicals were kind of pointing to previously. But it kind of happens. EV's been getting slammed left, right, and center. But as you can kind of see, these are some of the transactions that did occur on Friday above $100,000. So you do see some pretty big ones after hours on Friday. So that is kind of random in reality because nobody's really doing all that much. So 1.42 million, several 1 million pluses right there. 5 million, 3 million, there was a ton of transactions, and plus based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price, majority of these were buys, and you do see a 39.9 million one after hours. And so essentially that could be the BlackRock, Vanguard, or some other entity essentially getting into Rivian. So I think all in all, pretty good stuff. Plus there was a analyst rating that did come out on Friday from Piper Sandler. Alexander, who does have a 46% success rating, did upgrade Rivian and gave a $21 price target. So despite the lack of good future guidance, I guess, for 2024, analysts seem to really still love Rivian. So the last couple that came out was $21, $24, $9. So Joseph, who has a 51% success rating from UBS. But aside from that one, I think everything is very, very optimistic. And that's something I have said time and time again. Clearly, analysts do believe that Rivian is going to be the next big contender against Tesla in the coming years. Just clearly 2024 is going to be the year of cutting costs, consolidation. I think overall not the best for current investors, but bigger picture, it's going to just yield so much more. So that's just my own opinion, of course, not a financial advisor. Based on some of the latest pictures that's been floating around as of late, it does look like potentially DHL might be kind of getting in on Rivian. And so essentially that's good. You do have this right here, a couple more pictures ultimately. So I think all in all, this was kind of anticipated, especially I think, when did that even come out? I think mid last year, about the whole Amazon and Rivian being not exclusive anymore. A lot of people seem to be somewhat mixed on that, but turns out it might be for the better. So who knows, there might be more coming down the pipeline from maybe, I don't know, other carriers or whatever else. But I think this is a very good thing for Rivian and move in the right direction. And again, despite the lackluster technicals and the price action, you have seen a lot of good bullish ratings starting to come out about Rivian, really pointing to how the R2, based on the price point being roughly $45,000, is going to be a massive game changer. And like I've brought up time and time again, I think I brought it up last video, but last data that did come out, as you can kind of see right here for January 2024, EV sales on a global scale are up 63%. The States is up 19%. So despite higher interest rates, higher inflation, or somewhat higher inflation a little bit, but despite all of that, people are still out there buying EVs. And so I think having a $45,000 vehicle is going to appeal to so much more individuals. Of course, I still think that infrastructure needs to improve for on a mass scale, but I think 45,000 is going to just incentivize so many more people to get in on EVs, and more specifically Rivian. So I think that is going to be a very good thing for the coming years for Rivian, and analysts clearly realize that. But as of late, there has been no recent news, no SEC filings associated to Rivian, so it has just been at the mercy of the broader market, and that's unfortunately one thing that's been causing it to go down. But moving on, going over some data points, starting off with shorts. So shorts didn't do all that much on Friday, so it was rather flat. 17.41% of the free float is being shorted. That works out to be 120.25 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 1.02%, and utilization is 54.06%. Short score is 70.26. So the fact that shorts didn't do all that much on Friday, that's kind of a good thing, a little bit more optimistic. And plus, if you get rid of all this unnecessary crap, over the last little bit, shorts have been returning. So it went from about 18.55% short interest to what it is now. So I think that's kind of good. There's been a lot of fear in the market, especially due to PPI, retail sales, and also CPI last week. So the fact that shorts returned overall, I think is a good thing. But looking at some of the options on Friday, $7.73 million in calls being purchased, 13 in puts. Sentiment wise though, 53% of all the options being done on Friday were optimistic. And so comparing that to the rest of the EV sector, a lot more optimism in regards to Rivian than any other. So that's again a good thing. Looking at some of the call options that were purchased on Friday, there's a consensus for it to be above $12.50 by the end of next week. And then looking at puts, it is anticipated for it to be sub $11. So as far as the risk versus reward, definitely people are anticipating for a lot more upside with Rivian. That's just my interpretation, of course. Looking on the actual technicals though, with it at $11.04, it is trading between this S2 and this S1. So in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks and EV stocks, it is lagging. So could really incentivize value investors getting in on Rivian, and no doubtably that's where a lot of this volume did originate from, is just a lot of value is seen with Rivian. But aside from that though, going into this upcoming week, watch for this $10.41 support to hold, vice versa $11.14. So it kind of did break above that temporarily on Friday, but didn't really have enough to stay there. I bought a little bit more on Rivian, so I think 200 shares. I'm pretty happy with Rivian at these prices. And the funny thing is, when Rivian previously did drop to roughly about $12 last time, I think mid 2023, I kept doing videos and I kept saying like, come on guys, just think. Analysts love Rivian. Rivian is having a little bit more of a kind of fear brought on by how much they're burning through, but people are ignoring the amount of cash that they do have on hand. Like that basically, like there's almost no multiple on Rivian right now. It is a crazy deal. And then of course it runs up to, I think it was 20 something dollars. And then at that stage, everyone's like, oh my God, Rivian is a buy. So we are back at that fearful stage for Rivian. So again, you could be fearful, sell out your shares. But in my opinion, I'm just going to buy more and more at these prices. And then as soon as it does kind of go back up to the high teens, whether it be next quarter or several quarters down the line, that's how you build pretty good wealth, right? So don't have such a short-term time horizon. EV sector has been completely slammed time again. So you just have to take that with a grain of salt. Of course, you guys do whatever suits you. You guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day, because I'm not a financial advisor. But going into this upcoming week, the technicals are not looking the best. So it is lower percentile of the Bollinger Band. Stochastic, you do see it at roughly about 26. So if there is a good piece of news that does come out associated to Rivian, you could have value investors coming in, like I kind of pointed out. But going into next week though, you do have a bearish deviation, so red line above the white. So not the best as far as that, but number of retail investors have been getting back into Rivian. It looks like ever since March the 4th, give or take. So a lot of people were very hyped up about the R2, R3, and rightfully so, right? That's going to be the next big thing for the EV market. And Rivian, that should really propel Rivian to higher highs. My own opinion, of course. So let me know your thoughts on Rivian. What have you been doing? Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What's your thoughts on these latest ratings that have come out? As you can kind of see, so 21, 24, a lot of them very bullish as a consensus. They do have a price target of $18.24, and that works out to be a 65% upside from this price alone. And even while I'm on here looking at the latest Morningstar report, it does show the fair market value for Rivian being $25.77. So crazy deal in my opinion. Also on a side note, if you are looking for a lot of good compiled information, such as everything I just showed you, take a look at Interactive Brokers for all of this information to be completely free. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And with that, appreciate all of you watching.